topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Camping Show. I'm C.W. Getz.
And I'm Willow Munson.
It is Wednesday, March 16th, 2022. I just want to mention a couple of things. First of all, it is Wolfgang Van Halen's birthday today. Willow, did you know that?
I was completely unaware.
Do you know who that is?
I do.
Oh, cool. All right. Well, good. Well, yeah, I just remembered that before that got on the air, and I go, I'm going to mention that. Interestingly, his mother's birthday is the same day as mine, Valerie Bertinelli. So I always thought,
wow, you're basically famous then.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, we're related, all that kind of good stuff, just by birthdays alone. We had a 70-degree day today here in north central Illinois, and I tell you, we couldn't be happier. Willow has got 87 degrees down there, and
not quite,
because you're in Minnesota right now, right?
No, Pennsylvania.
And so, you're in Pennsylvania. Okay, you're just on spring break, but you're. Okay.
I'm at my other home in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, you've got a couple.
It's 70, high 70s, so like 75. I was showing off my burn before.
You've already got your fan going on. You look like you're in South Beach, Florida, man, to be honest. I love that.
Thank you.
That's so cool. Hey, you didn't mention my blue blockers, my new blue blockers that I got on.
Oh, I noticed them, but I wasn't sure if you normally had them on, so I didn't know.
No, I picked these up. I don't even remember where. It might have been like Walmart or something. I go, those look silly. I'll wear those. But yeah, the blue
they're always good.
Exactly. Hey, speaking, Willow, we just want to mention this. Willow is going to be leaving the show. Unfortunately, I'm sad about that. Her last show with us, we believe, is going to be March 30th. I can speak. March 30th. So, and she's got a new movie contract, so she'll be doing some films and sort of work and modeling, of course. Lamborghini in the driveway, sort of thing. Listen, I just want to mention this really quickly. Those who have been following my Facebook posts about Sasha and her mother in Ukraine, they just want to give you an update. The people have been asking me. They did make it to very near the border. They're right at the border of Moldova, Ukraine. So just wanted to let everybody know. Or they're in Ukraine, but they're right up to the border of Moldova. So I want to thank everybody for their thoughts, the prayers, and even donations that people have made. So I very much appreciate that. So, yeah. Anything you want to mention, Willow, before we get in?
I don't know. Yeah. All I know is I'm ready.
Life is good. Okay. Well, tonight's episode is brought to you by Campground Views, making camping easier.
By Rutabaga Paddle Sports, providing time on the water.
By Novacraft Canoe, connecting with nature since 1970.
And by Littlebug Enterprise, rugged simplicity in outdoor gear.
Tonight's episode is Backcountry Food with our special guest, John Wright. Willow, could you tell us a little bit about John, please?
Lifelong outdoor enthusiast, hiker, climber, and backcountry adventurer, John Wright is the graduate of the National Outdoor Leadership School, Vice President of Sales for the Catadine North America, and Vice President of Sales for Spectra Watermakers. John also serves as a volunteer as a water and sanitation health disaster team lead and the team chief when called upon, as well as technical advisor for World Hope International. A professional in the work of water infrastructure equipment manufacturing, he applies his extensive knowledge and background experience to create drinking water equipment solutions and portable desalination gear for disaster and humanitarian development projects globally.
A veteran of numerous disasters, he has over 1,000 unit hours of operating portable desalination equipment and freshwater solutions to make drinking water for those in need as a result of disasters. With that, welcome to the show, John.
Welcome, John.
Thank you. Good to be here. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Last time you were with us, we were talking water. And tonight we're going to be talking about food, backcountry food to be more specific. So I'm excited about that. How you doing, John? How's the weather up there where you're at?
Well, yeah, I'm in Wisconsin, and when the weather hits in the 60s or 70s, in Wisconsin for the first time in the spring, I mean, everyone is outside, and it is a beautiful day here. So I appreciate that.
Yep, absolutely. So, well, I tell you what, I know I think we're going to get the 60s the rest of the for another week yet. So I hope that, or I wish that weather upon you as well, both of you guys. So,
Thanks.
yep,
Thank you.
you bet.
So, John, what would you say are the 5 essential aspects concerning meals on an adventure trip?
Oh, yeah, great question. First and foremost, is energy. I mean, we need to have calories to burn, and calories that we can have access to that can be eaten without a major effort, can be carried in the most lightest possible form. So energy is certainly first and foremost, and certainly having some flavor is also an essential part of this. We need to be able to have a meal that tastes good, that is satisfying, that is large enough to, make us feel full and ready for another day. This leads into next ease of preparation. Some of us are backcountry chefs and carry a complete set of pots and knives, and some of us really are really looking for something that is ultra light and that is satisfying. So ease of prep is another one of the major considerations that we need to have on the radar. Cost is certainly relevant. If there are meals from a grocery or from a commercial food provider, well, we need to be competitive. So cost is always part of that as well.
Yeah.
Convenience is really one of the bigger elements. We want to be able to make a meal pretty quickly, and just adding hot water to a meal is one very easy way to prepare a meal. And in all cases with alpine air, freeze dried foods, it's really just a matter of adding hot water and rehydrating the components. And you have a hot meal ready to go within 15 to 20 minutes, depending on the meal.
Yeah.
So convenience is certainly a big factor too.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you mentioned taste because you're kind of playing to not just nutritional and caloric intake, but also like what your mind needs. Like, will your mind also be satisfied after the meal that you just ate?
Yeah. Great point.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And we all have different tastes, and we all have tried things in the past that just weren't great, and others that were just fabulous. And we're just advocates of, find the meals that really energize you, that taste good, that make you feel good, that fill you and provide you with enough nutrition and calories to do what we're all doing in the backcountry. And so I hope that's an alpine air meal. But there's also this, that the the add-ons that we all put in our pack. Maybe it's a bottle of Tabasco, or maybe it's some real lime or real lemon, something that we can squeeze in. Maybe it's just salt and pepper, or maybe it's your favorite seasoning or your favorite herb. But, having a few additives that allows us to kind of modify the meal to a way that just makes it more satisfying is part of the equation that we should all embrace. It's all available, readily in the marketplace to find seasonings and additives that get us to where we need to be. Now, hopefully, with an alpine air meal, you're probably going to find that the flavorings are really, pretty kicked up.
They're already there, basically.
Yeah, they really are. That's one
Yeah.
thing that distinguishes us a bit.
Say, John, what consumer groups do the products that you have from Alpine Air appeal to most? I mean, is it hikers,
Yeah.
canoeists? What are they really?
Well, we break down the marketplace into expeditioners. So this is our backpacking remote backpackers. the people who want to carry the lightest possible meal and the most satisfying and most convenient approach. Glampers, for our more, glamour oriented campers, I got to tell you, I reach first for a freeze dried meal.
Yeah.
And I'll talk more about that. But, the meals, they're not what they used to be. They have a very, very broad profile of flavor, inducing components that really just make the food taste better.
Yeah.
And so, glamping, I wouldn't sell a freeze dried meal short for a glamping experience. Or maybe you want to,
Really? Okay.
bring something with you and cook it and serve a freeze dried meal as a side piece. So there's certainly in a glamping scenario, it's certainly possible to bring a protein and cook that and then add an alpine air meal as a side, option. And then the last group is really our readiness folks. We used to call this community preppers, and really at this point in this world, we're all readiness oriented. We all should have some shelf stable food supplies in our house, in our home, and wherever we are, so that we have a backup food option. And I think we all kind of have this now. It's not just a prepper thing. We all just need to be prepared and have a few meals set aside that are shelf stable and ready when we need them.
I can tell you something. Back before I had a backup generator at my house, which I've been eating macaroni and cheese now for 6 years to pay for that thing, so I had enough money. But I would tell you, before we had that backup generator, we would lose power. And when we lost power, I would go CW, go down and, I actually did this in the basement. I'm sorry, but I fire up my little cook stove and I would make one of these. It was another brand at the time, but this has been probably 8 years ago, I think, maybe 10 years ago. And I would make one of these meals, and I'm telling you, it was perfect. It didn't take a lot of time. It was easy to do. It took one pot, and I was done. So I totally subscribe to what you're saying there about that.
Yeah, it definitely is a crowd pleaser in the when you least expect it. And we certainly hope that you do this outside instead of in your basement, CW. But
Well,
but
yeah, it
if
was
you're
pretty
using
damn
a
cold
gas
last
stove,
night. It
we
was windy.
probably
I go, no, I'm
want
going
to
to do
take
this.
that outside. But you're a man after my own heart. I
Yeah,
have
right. Yeah,
a line of stoves and food ready in my basement, ready to
yeah,
go.
yeah,
So yeah.
yep. No, that's where all the camping
So
gear is at too. So I just say, hey, this will work. Sorry, Willa.
it's okay. Just wanted to know about the types of meals that are available from Alpine Air.
Yeah, thanks. Like a lot of companies, we have aligned with nutrition needs of our community. So there are many vegetarian meals, there's some gluten-free meals, there's meals with meats. So we definitely have a variety of meals. And again, it's just about finding some favorites. I have a few favorites from my line at Alpine Air that I could eat any day of the year. And I have a few from my competitors as well that are really, really good. But finding those few meals that are familiar to you that you really enjoy, that's part of the magic of, you know, having a food kit ready to go for a backpacking trip or for a disaster scenario or, for whatever you do in the outdoors.
What
Yeah.
is one of your favorite meals?
Oh, well, for me, there's a couple. I got to tell you, I could eat beef stroganoff, anytime in the backcountry.
Ditto.
Spicy sausage and pasta is another one that is just, I mean, really, it has a lot of very complex flavors to it. We're not using just salt to make it taste right. We're using an array of flavors of salt,
Right.
fat, acid, heat, all kinds of textures, all kinds of components to really, make it taste as best as we can.
Beef
Awesome.
stroganoff is awesome, is it not? I love beef stroganoff.
It's a crowd pleaser. It's
Absolutely.
it's maybe not the newest, but it certainly is one that I reach for in the backcountry and on my disaster response trips.
Yeah.
That's a great one. But there's so many that are just uh, you know so good these days. And again, not just from us, but from
John left us for a second.
We He dropped. Oh
Oh,
no.
John.
Well, I guess we're actually about to take a commercial break. So why don't we do that now? And then we'll come back and hopefully this is fixed.
Sounds great.
So we'll be back with more of the Camping Show on W4CY Radio and Talk 4 TV after these messages.
It's time to go camping. Introducing Campground View's virtual tours. You can tour the campground, see the sites, see if they are available, and click to book your perfect spot. Hit the open road and explore the amazing places found in nature. We make it easy to discover, find, and book your site so that you can go have the fun and freedom you seek. Campground View's virtual tours make it easy and simple for you to see where you are going.
A few years ago, someone asked Rutabaga's owner, Darren Bush, "Hey, how long have you guys been selling boats?" Darren replied, "We don't sell boats. We sell time on the water." Of course, that comes in all types. We help people paddle more safely with Rutabaga outdoor programs. We rent canoes, kayaks, and stand-up paddleboards. We sell and install racks to get you from home to adventure. Rutubaga's got everything you need to get you out on the water, like paddles, life jackets, dry bags, and clothing. Rutabaga Paddle Sports, on the web at rutabaga.com. Mention you saw this ad on The Camping Show.
There's nothing like being out there. For over 50 years, we've been connecting people with nature by building classic Canadian canoe designs using the best materials available. We built a reputation on durable, dependable canoes that allow you to focus on what's important, whether that's unplugging in remote wilderness, spending quality time with your favorite people, or nailing the perfect line. Visit novacraft.com to find the perfect canoe for you and locate your nearest authorized dealer.
Embrace simple pleasures, nature's music, the vision and aroma of your victuals simmering over a wood fire. We invite you to kindle your flame in a Littlebug stove. Visit us at littlebug.com. See why Littlebug is the top-rated stick stove and save 15% with discount code CAMPING15.
And we're back with our guest, John Wright, here on The Camping Show. John, we lost you there momentarily, and I got so flustered, I lost my place. So, Willow, let me know where you left off. Was it?
Yeah, why don't you just do 4? I just kind of skipped to the better to do the commercial while John's not here.
Absolutely. Well, we'll jump back in where we left off. And John, how has the overall approach to prepackaged meals changed in recent years?
Well, I think the most important thing to know is that flavor profiles of prepackaged meals have expanded dramatically, especially in freeze-dried. We have chefs that work with us that adapt the flavors, that use the ingredients that we have, that look for new ingredients so that we can continually bring, new meals to the table and new flavors and new textures to just make the whole experience more satisfying. And one thing that I've experienced myself, using my outdoor skills in disaster scenarios, we deploy to some of the most, some of the worst disasters shortly after a hurricane or some other kind of disaster event. And, we reach for freeze-dried meals every time. Now, MREs, those are the military meals ready to eat. This is one of the most common questions is, why wouldn't I reach for an MRE? And, there are some really great components in an MRE. There are some. But I got to tell you that my team and myself, we always reach for freeze-dried first because you're getting a fully complemented meal. It's just a chef working to make sure that the textures are there, that the flavors are there, that it's satisfying, that the calories are there, and the nutrition is there. It's not just salt and pasta. It's, all kinds of flavor ingredients that really bring a meal to life.
You mentioned You mentioned something here. Let me ask you this. Um, were the meals prepared differently back when they first when like MRE meals? Are they freeze dried or are they dehydrated or how does that work? I might be getting ahead of myself here, but so
Well,
sorry if I am.
yeah, in the US, MRE meals are prehydrated. So if you have, for example, a spaghetti meal, that's going to be a prehydrated meal with water in it, which means that it's heavier. And it also, it doesn't have all of the flavor ingredients that we have available to us, like cilantro powder or lime powder or garlic, powder,
Mhm.
all of these things that really hydrate well and bring those flavors to life in a freeze dried meal, especially when they're stored over, 5 years. Keep in mind that MRE meals have a very short life, shelf life. I believe it's 2 years and it could be 1 year in some cases.
Interesting. Yeah, I kind of wondered that.
Interesting. And so then, how has Alpine Air addressed the aspect of creating more flavorful foods?
Well, we certainly get asked for it. This is our goal. So, what we are doing is we are looking for components, looking for meal ingredients that will help us to move the needle. So, for example, recently, chicken is really typical. We can all buy freeze dried chicken in various places. But we have found recently a grilled chicken, grilled freeze dried chicken. And I got to tell you that grilled
Ooh.
flavor
Nice.
actually comes through. And we found that that particular ingredient really complements almost all of our chicken meals. So we're always looking for another ingredient that can kick up the flavor a bit.
And by the way, remind everyone MRE what that stands for. I mean, everybody probably knows, but just let them know.
Yeah, again, that's the military meal, and it's called a meal ready to eat.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
MRE.
Yep. Um, how does the aspect of cost for Alpine Air meals compare to that of other brands on the market? We won't name them, but I think
Yeah.
everybody knows where we're going. Yeah.
Well, like most things, there is a range of products and in brands, and there are some that are more expensive, and there are quite a few that are less expensive. We are not, trying to be the very cheapest meal for you. We're trying to be the one that really satisfies, that really, might have a little heat to it. It might have a little, herb, edge to it. It might have a little bit of an acid edge to it, or a texture that is above and beyond. So we're never trying to be the cheapest meal, and we always end up, not at the very highest price points, but above many of the pack in terms of the cost of the meal itself. Now that said, it's really not that different than going to the grocery and buying freeze dried meals at the grocery that are, there's some available.
Sure.
Mac and cheese being a great example of that.
Yeah.
Well, I was just going to ask that.
You can go,
Why
Fritz.
not grab mac and cheese at the supermarket instead of having a freeze dried meal in one pouch? Like, how do you
Yeah.
respond to that?
Well, isn't that an interesting question? And I mean, if I look at some of our very most requested meals,
Yeah,
our Forever Young mac and cheese is among the very highest at
Yeah.
all times.
of course,
So,
because it's
you know, it,
legendary.
It
yeah,
is. Yeah.
I think part of it is this, is that once you learn that you can pour hot water into a pouch and 20 minutes later you have a meal with no dishes to do. No, you don't have to clean that cheese residue out of the pot. That can be a bit of a challenge, especially if it dries out. It can turn to stone. But
Yeah.
in a pouch meal, you're eating the meal from the pouch itself, and that just removes a lot of complexities of having to clean a pot in the backcountry and trying to get to a level of sanitation where it doesn't, hurt us downstream, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
right. So a pouch meal is very convenient in that regard. You eat it, you cook it in the pouch, you eat it out of the pouch. You can keep that pouch, bring it home, clean it, reuse it. It is a very versatile tool that eliminates the need for a set of pots. All you need is a vessel to boil water, and the rest of it can be done in the pouch itself. And I think that's why, aside from having some of the greatest flavors that are, Forever Young mac and cheese has always been one of our best sellers.
Yes, I
I don't know. That
agree.
sounds dangerous. Like, I would just want to eat it every day, get used to not doing dishes. I love this.
Absolutely.
That's perfect for college students, right?
Hey, good point. Good point about that. You guys,
I'm guilty as charged. I certainly have done this.
I
Yeah.
love it. Well, now I'm going to mention some names, John. Are Alpine Air meals available in the same places we might find brands like Mountain House and Backpackers Pantry, for example?
Well, you will probably find our meals in, in the places that outdoor users like to go.
Okay.
Rutabaga being a perfect example. If you
Yep.
go to Rutabaga, you'll find Alpine Air. If you go to REI, if you go to Bass Pro or Cabela's, or if you go to any specialty outdoor retail store, you're certainly going to find Alpine Air. You might not find us at mass retail, for example. It's generally we just don't sell our products taste a little better, they cost a little more, and so we're just not a fit with mass retail, but we are generally available in outdoor retail stores.
Okay. So like a Rutabaga. Yeah, I know that's Willow's favorite store. In fact, I think she prefers that over like Macy's and things like that. Am I right? That's where you
I just don't go shopping.
yeah, right. But no, that's cool that, and I have seen them at Rutabaga as well. So, yeah, that's
Mhm.
totally understandable.
Are Alpine Air meals available in countries other than the United States?
Well, they certainly can be, yes, but Catadyne is our ownership. That's our parent company, and Catadyne owns food brands around the planet. We have another one in Germany
Oh, wow.
called Trek and Eat, and they do very much like what we do here in the U.S. freeze dried meals. And I'm sure you can imagine that with the events in the Ukraine, that factory is turning
Yeah,
out food very, very quickly, and in fact we've sold everything we can make for the next 6 months. So we're definitely in the game and part of the effort in the EU. And but yeah, we have those two locations. We do export a little bit, but food laws make it harder to find in all over the world in terms of
oh,
food packaging and labeling requirements. We're definitely in Canada. We have
yeah.
a very
I
substantial distribution in Canada.
It's funny. I really never would have imagined that when you have a prepackaged meal like that, that it would be a problem exporting that sort of thing for, there were all kinds of rules and for a prepackaged meal. I guess I just never would imagine it. But yeah, I
Yeah,
and I did actually think about this. I thought, I bet those meals and a lot of prepackaged meals are being served right now all over, Poland and Ukraine and Moldova, uh, all that. Yeah, everywhere over there.
that's true. Catadyne has sent several pallets of food, and there are all over the planet. There's demand now for food to go to the region.
Yeah,
There's several million people in displaced person status right now, and these types of meals are a very good way to care for them.
absolutely, absolutely. Yep. Well, I think we
I
are going to
guess
take a commercial. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
What do
I guess we're
you
gonna take a
gonna
break on that note. I felt like there needed to be like a moment of silence just to kind of,
do? Yes,
appreciate the magnitude because
I
it's a
agree.
serious thing. But
It is.
we'll be back with more of the camping show on W4CY Radio and Talk 4 TV after these messages.
It's time to go camping. Introducing Campground View's virtual tours. You can tour the campground, see the sights, see if they are available, and click to book your perfect spot. Hit the open road and explore the amazing places found in nature. We make it easy to discover, find, and book your site so that you can go have the fun and freedom you seek. Campground View's virtual tours make it easy and simple for you to see where you are going.
A few years ago, someone asked Rutabaga's owner, Darren Bush, "Hey, how long have you guys been selling boats?" Darren replied, "We don't sell boats. We sell time on the water." Of course, that comes in all types. We help people paddle more safely with Rutabaga outdoor programs. We rent canoes, kayaks, and stand-up paddleboards. We sell and install racks to get you from home to adventure. Rutabaga's got everything you need to get you out on the water, like paddles, life jackets, dry bags, and clothing. Rutabaga Paddle Sports, on the web at rutabaga.com. Mention you saw this ad on The Camping Show.
There's nothing like being out there. For over 50 years, we've been connecting people with nature by building classic Canadian canoe designs using the best materials available. We built a reputation on durable, dependable canoes that allow you to focus on what's important, whether that's unplugging in remote wilderness, spending quality time with your favorite people, or nailing the perfect line. Visit novacraft.com to find the perfect canoe for you and locate your nearest authorized dealer.
Embrace simple pleasures. Nature's music, the vision and aroma of your victuals simmering over a wood fire. We invite you to kindle your flame in a Littlebug stove. Visit us at littlebug.com. See why Littlebug is the top-rated stick stove and save 15% with discount code CAMPING15.
And we're back with our guest, John Wright, here on the Camping Show. Roxy, can we have you put up John's photos, and we'll have him tell us about each one of those, please? There we go.
Thank you, Roxy. Yeah, this is an image of one of our preparedness kits. This is a ready kit with 7 meals in it that will get you through, 7 days. And it's a mix of different types of meals. There's a couple of breakfasts in there. But if you think about, again, this is a shelf-stable product. It has 5 years of lifetime, and so it lends itself to family readiness. And this is a great way to just put a little extra food on the shelf that will always be there, ready for your family.
You just answered a question I was going to ask you about how long do they keep in the package, but you said 5 years.
Well, they certainly will keep longer than that. And they will continue to provide those calories for way beyond 5 years. But we, again, want to make sure that the taste of the product is right. And within that range of 5 years, the taste is right on.
Spot on.
And after 5 years, it starts to gently decline. So we use a 5-year shelf life.
That's excellent. We got some more pictures. I know we do. There we are.
Yeah. Rustic
Ooh.
3-cheese lasagna. I know.
There you go, Willow.
It's getting late in the date here. I got to tell you,
I'm not even I'm vegetarian, and that sounds good to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, freeze-dried sausage is something that comes through in flavor very, very well. Creole grilled chicken, gumbo. I mean, gumbo is certainly one of the big crowd pleasers, and there's some great textures in that one as well. And again, we spoke
Did I
about the
see
grilled
okra?
chicken. Yeah, actually you did. Okra. Oh yeah, it's great. It hydrates very, very well. It's not crunchy, and it just adds a great texture and a little bit of flavor.
Willow, okra is the best. Man.
Whatever you say.
I love okra. All right.
It's a great
Yeah,
picture.
one of our great, one of the great realities of freeze-dried food is freedom. It's just being able to throw in a pack and go, and not to have to plan out an entire meal plan, an entire grocery plan, but just grab a few meals, and man, your weekend, you're good to go.
Definitely a time saver and a convenience all in one. And if you've got tasty meals, as I know you do, that's a win-win-win situation.
It really is.
Yep.
It really is. Crowd pleaser for adults and for kids as well. We certainly have a palette of meals that everyone can enjoy.
Yep.
Great smiles. And, again, everyone has one of those meals that they just love, and they've been buying it for years, and they always have it in their pack, and they always take it on their trips.
Yep.
And that's probably what you see here in these smiles and these images is, just satisfied people that have a great meal in their pack and they're ready to go.
You even saw the dog in that one picture
Yeah.
begging.
Yeah. There he is. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Very much so. We're talking about pouch meals. So I get a little, here's the deal. All right. So one of the things that's really annoying is trying to get that last little bit of food, at the bottom of the pouch because a spoon just isn't long enough, right? So you end up getting food all over your fingers in the process. Now, as I understand it, you've come up with a solution to that problem. Is that correct?
Well, there certainly is a solution. There really is.
You know what I'm
This
talking
is
about, right?
a great point. Yeah. If you don't have a long spoon, that is just a regular spoon, but maybe about 3 to 4 inches longer,
Yeah.
run out and grab yourself a long spoon. And they're sold at all the specialty outdoor stores. So, any of the backpacking stores are going to have this in the food section or in the cooking section. And so, what is it? 8, maybe 9 inches long. It's long enough so that you can reach down into the package and get at the contents of the package without wearing the food,
Yeah,
without
because
getting it all over your hand and all over because,
that's what I
you
do.
know, remember that part of the process with a freeze-dried meal is the hydration process. And you really need to stir it carefully. Get enough water in the package. And with Alpine Air, there's a guide on the side of the package that shows you how much water you've put in and how much it requires. And so you can hydrate properly, but you still have to stir. And if you try to do that with a regular short spoon, man, you're going to end up wearing that meal.
That's me. I do it every time. You think by this time I would have bought a longer spoon. I
Yeah.
have to
So
confess.
for the meal prep and for eating the meal itself, that long spoon is a godsend. And I highly recommend run out and grab yourself one.
Yeah, I think I should do that. I think I will. Hey, Willow, Christmas present, right? Yeah. Long spoon.
Great item.
I mean, it's the perfect gift. So excited to open
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely.
So,
what do we
what
got?
kind of? I was curious what kind of questions you get asked regarding freeze-dried meals in comparison to MRE meals.
Yeah. I think a lot of people just haven't had an experience with an MRE. And so the biggest question that comes up with those two is, how does the flavors, what's different? So in an MRE, you're going to get a ketchup packet and you're going to get, um, you know, a, um, a snack and you're going to get a dessert treat afterwards. Maybe it's just a swizzle stick or something very very simple as a dessert. So you do get a lot of different components in an MRE, but one of the biggest differences is the size. Those are pretty big packages. And so you could fit 2 or 3 meals in the same space that you have one MRE,
Hmm.
freeze-dried meals,
Yeah.
that is. So one is certainly size, and obviously weight is another one, is that those are pre-hydrated meals. And so you're carrying a lot of water weight with you and also a lot of packaging. There's a tremendous amount of packaging in an MRE that is necessary to make that meal ready to eat as the name indicates. But the reality is that you're going to be carrying a lot of essentially refuse garbage out with you when you use an MRE. So the questions are around those things. Why wouldn't I just go with an MRE, or w- what is the difference in terms of the
Yeah.
cook time? Is another one, and that is with a pouch meal. Once you've hydrated it with boiling water, you're probably going to wait 15 to 20 minutes. And with an MRE, they come with a heating element. It's a chemical heating element. And they can be ready in under 10 minutes. So there is a difference in the prep time. And this is another question that comes up. Ultimately,
Okay.
it's about the taste and the weight and the carry size that makes a difference with
Yeah.
freeze dried.
Yeah, I think taste is huge. And, it's one of those things where just my experience is some of the ones I've had were pretty good, like beef stroganoff, but there are others that are not. And from what I know about Alpine Air, these meals are all delicious. And so that's that's a big, huge plus. I think that's just my opinion. So, John, how many ounces are these meals generally?
Well, they're set up and they are compliant with food packaging standards with regard to serving size.
Okay.
So generally, you're going to see a couple thousand calories per person um, in a meal. So you're going to have a package that would feed two people for a single meal.
Okay.
But they follow the standard FDA packaging requirements and serving size requirements that make a meal for an adult.
Okay. Or even one
Okay.
very hungry man.
Well, that is something that comes up quite
Yeah,
often is that people
absolutely.
say, "Man, I ate one of those myself." And
Yeah,
given outdoor, we're pretty active. We're burning a lot of calories.
absolutely.
We're maybe in adverse weather where you need to eat more, or we may have gotten wet and we need to eat more to get back to a more comfortable after getting wet in the outdoors. We're always going to need to have a few more calories.
Yeah, and I'm a second helping kind of person. So yeah, I appreciate having the extra big meals. Got a little chow hound thing going on. I burn a
Yeah,
lot of energy. Yeah, absolutely.
right on.
I think we had a couple of questions in the chat. So have you ever made a sampler pack for potential customers to see what they like before they first invest? That's a really good question.
Yeah, a great way to do that is to go to an outdoor show like Canoecopia. At those shows,
Yeah.
it's pretty typical to find someone serving the various different meals, and you can have a taste of a lot of different meals. Maybe there's a night in the spring when your store will do a tasting of, not just Alpine Air, but various other freeze dried meals. And so those are great opportunities. A sampler pack is certainly a great idea, and we have not done that, but that's a really interesting idea, and maybe we can do something with that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Interesting. Okay. And I know we have some other comments that came up on this. Can we maybe read some of those?
Yeah, I see
Mustang
one on okra.
774. I usually eat one myself in the evening when backpacking, but I have a snack instead of a meal for lunch. Fair. That's my problem. I eat the entire thing myself. A
Really,
long-handled spork.
really typical. It really is. We generally, when we do meal prep, maybe we'll do one in the morning and one at night. That would
Mm-hmm.
be very, very typical. And then your lunch bag is made up of ready to eat components that don't need to be rehydrated. That would be a very typical approach and a good one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I also
Yeah,
wanted to address the crazy Donald Kelly who says fried okra is my favorite.
that's the way I was looking at.
I'm with you,
And maybe
Donald.
I just haven't had the okra in the right context, but when I had it, it was just slimy and just,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know if I can.
I think it's the way they're prepared because the way
Yeah.
we do it, yeah, we fry them up, but they're not slimy. John, yours, what do you do when you
Mm,
Well, I think I can eliminate slimy from all of the freeze-dried meal
there you
experiences.
go.
yes,
You're
There you
just
go.
not
that's
going to have
fair.
a slimy thing in a freeze-dried meal. I can pretty much guarantee you that. But having
Hmm.
just a little bit of texture, something that hydrates at a little different rate, makes the texture of the meal more interesting. It's not crunchy, but you will taste that it has some bite to it,
Yeah.
and that is one of the great
Okay.
satisfying things about freeze-dried meals. Again, if you compare to something that is pre-hydrated like an MRE, there is no texture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That is true. We got a couple other ones here. It's some nice comments. Mustang 774. Great show tonight, as always. Thanks, Willow, CW, and John. Thank you, Mustang 774. Appreciate that. And I also want to throw a shout out here. Donald Kelly and Colleen and Johnny Kuehl. I had an opportunity to meet those people in person this weekend at Canoecopia, and what a great bunch of people. So it was really had to spend some time with Johnny and Colleen at one of the local eating establishments and kick back a few craft beers. So that was a lot of fun. But had a great show, and I have to also add this. Roxy, I really missed my producer/engineer for that show. So it's just wonderful to have you be working with you again. You have no idea how much I appreciate you, but really, after doing that myself this weekend. So thank you.
So I guess on that, I'm curious, where can our audience go to learn more about the meals available from Alpine Air, as well as other products from the Catadine Group?
Well, yeah, thanks. You can search Catadine USA, you can search Catadine Group, you can search Alpine Air. Any of those are going to lead you to our websites, and you'll see the complete menu plan on our websites. You can also go to our sellers like REI and Bass Pro and Cabela's and Rutabaga and all our specialty stores. Many of them have the meal plan as well on their websites.
Yeah, excellent. Fantastic. Well, we'd like to thank you, John, for being our guest on the camping show this evening. It was very much a pleasure having you back here with us again.
Always good to be with you, and the weather is certainly turning in favor. We're all thinking about getting outdoors, so
Yes, we are.
very, very timely today. Thanks,
Yes,
CW.
absolutely. You're very welcome.
We'd also like to thank our sponsors, Campground Views, Rutabaga Paddle Sports, Novacraft Canoe, and Little Bug Enterprises for bringing you tonight's show.
Be sure to tune in for next week's episode, The Finer Points of Winter Adventuring with Garrett Conover.
Until then, thank you for tuning into the camping show.
This is CW Getz
And Willow Munson.
reminding you,
Learn more.
do more. See you next week.
Bye.